backdrop is mobility, intelligent networks, and smart societies. We are honored that the conference is organized under the kind patronage and guidance of His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, the UAE Minister of Culture, Youth, and Community Development. I wish to applaud the vital role and leadership of His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the UAE President, in developing our country, which led in making the Emirates at the forefront of international technological development and innovation. Our mission at the BCS, the Chartered Institute for IT, a leading IT qualification body, is to empower the information society. Through over 80,000 members across 100 countries over the globe, we help promote technological innovation in education through delivering a range of advanced development tools, designing new methodologies, promoting creative thinking, and globally recognized qualifications. Building on our last year's success, our comprehensive two-day program, today and tomorrow, will be addressing leading-edge technologies, attracted some of the industry most prominent experts, including professional speakers from ECSSR, Cisco, Gartner, Etihad Airways, New York University, Hamdan bin Mohammed E University from Dubai, CompTIA, and Daman. In addition, I encourage you to attend the thought-provoking panel discussions on the digital CIO role and the challenges of cybersecurity. The BCS is organizing also 2 workshops on professional certifications and competency framework, Safiya Plus. During the conference, I trust you will find the technical papers sessions both interesting and informative, delivered by international speakers, practitioners, and academic experts. An exhibition area at the foyer has been designated for showing business innovation. We are pleased to honor talented Emirati students from the Gulf Autism Center, distinguished universities and colleges in the Emirates, best technical research papers, and selected nominated speakers. Hosting this international conference in Abu Dhabi strengthens UAE Capital's position as a pioneer in the IT world to attract prominent scientific research centers and enhances the Emirate-wide cultural revival and developed infrastructure to transform into a knowledge-based economy in line with the general policy of the government of Abu Dhabi and its 2030. In line, I'm pleased to add, with the wise country leadership objectives to convert into a smart government in accordance with the best international standards and practices. This is focusing on the implementation of sustainability concept, which is clearly reflected through the topics which will be discussed in the conference, including innovation, mobility, electronic learning, health systems, security, social networks, and electronic smart government systems. I wish to express our appreciation to our organizers, co-organizers, Al-Khawarizmi International College, and to the strategic sponsors and key partners for their continuous support, including the Emirates Center for Strategic Studies and Research, education partners, Lenovo, Cisco, Gartner, IBM, and Microsoft. The conference is an ideal platform to learn, create knowledge, develop partnerships, and business networking. Finally, I wish to thank you for your kind participation with us and wish you an enjoyable stay in Abu Dhabi and a very successful conference. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Thank you very much, Adil Hashmi, for this opening speech. Next, I would like to invite, all the way from the United States, CompTIA Senior Director of Product and Development, Dr. James Stanger. Dr. Stanger is a respected authority concerning web technologies, network security, and open source. He is also a recognized authority in the field of certification and long-distance education, working in the field for over 20 years. He has managed and contributed to certifications for CIW, Certified Internet Web Professional, CompTIA, Symantec, IBM, and the Linux Professional Institute, LBI. Please welcome Dr. James Stanger, who will be presenting Using Social Media to Create a Smart Company.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here. I am here to talk about what it means to use social media to create a smart company. What I'd like to do is start things out with a brief little video, if I could. Let me see it go back here. Okay. At CompTIA, we certify people. But today, I'll be here to talk about what it means to put together social media for your business. Social media, as you can see from the agenda, we're going to talk about things such as gamification, folksonomy, et cetera, and big data. But what we're really going to be talking about here is the potential of social media in business. Now, marketing professionals have long ago kind of captured the potential for social media in a very narrow area, and that has to do with what it means to grab and talk to people about a product, and that's terrific. Photo networks, 87 plus million users are on Flickr, 140 million almost on Instagram. 54% of marketers have acquired some form of customer through Facebook. So I think we've seen, but today it's a question of social media to capture the collective wisdom of your company. More than just talking to people about products, more than competing with people or what have you, it has to do with capturing the collective wisdom of your company. And to me, this is a very important thing. I've been an educator for many years. I've also worked for many professional corporations for years. I love working in areas where lots of knowledge transfer happens. Very important thing for me to be part of, knowledge transfer. That's why I'm in the certification business. But knowledge transfer can happen in a classroom. It can happen in a conference such as this. But more importantly, it can happen in a company. And it's my belief that I want to talk to you today about the cloud and about social media is how we can capture the collective wisdom of a company by combining social media aspects and the cloud so that every time something happens in a company, you can learn from it. Let me tell you a couple of stories. One, a friend of mine, his name is Tapey Rom, another friend of mine, Walt Stewart, they were once hired to do an analysis of a company, of their connections, of their way they communicated. What I found was that there was an individual who it was kind of like a black hole. Information went into that individual, but it never came out. And they were having a hard time trying to figure out, well, how do we talk about this individual without making him or her look bad? Well, it turns out that's why they were hired. They were hired as individuals to analyze where communications were going wrong. The reason I'm telling this story is that using big data analytics and social-like concepts and practices, you can find those kinds of issues and you can improve your company without having to do polls, without having to do surveys, but by analyzing data and doing predictive analytics. Let's talk about traditional social media just for a second. 72% of all internet users are using social media today, so they understand many of the moves when it comes to social media. You have 60% of 50 to 60-year-olds are using it. So it's not just for young people anymore. On Facebook, in the USA, for example, citizens get going about 16%, followed by Australians at about 14 minutes, and Brits at about 13 minutes of time that they spend daily on Facebook. 71% of users access social media from a mobile device, so mobile devices are very interesting to them. What does social media really mean when it comes to business? Let me tell you. What I find interesting is Flickr and other utilities. You have basically 93% of the of businesses use social media in one way or the other. But I still think we have a long ways to go. And here's why I say this. When it comes to creating smart companies, there was a survey conducted in the US only, but it was of about 3,000 people. A quarter of people surveyed thought that an MP3 referred to a robot in Star Wars. Okay? You have basically almost 50 participants felt like that a tablet computer was used to monitor medication. 27% thought that a gigabyte referred to an insect found in South America. Okay? 47% thought a motherboard was an essential part of a cruise ship. Okay? What does this have to do with creating smart companies? We have a long ways to go. My favorite one was 18% of the people thought that Blu-ray referred to an aquatic animal. Now, what I find interesting is that you have ways to access your company's wisdom. You need to find out where your companies really communicate. Social media can be a place where all of your company's communications occur. Photo networks, Facebook, what have you, and you think about the types of conversations that happen. They happen quickly. 10-second rule is important. There's the 3-click rule. Remember the 3-click rule? You don't want to put information on a web page any more than 3 clicks in. It's kind of like with the 10-second rule when it comes to social media. You have to capture their attention quickly. But you also have about that long to capture information as it goes throughout your company. Think of what your company does. Think just for a second. Email, instant messaging, SharePoint servers, SMS. At CompTIA, we use a utility called Link to communicate. It's like Skype. Imagine if you could capture information and analyze it. Imagine if you can, using big data analytics, use social media-like tools, you can grab this information. You can capture the wisdom of your company. You can get you into big data. You can use big data techniques, Hadoop, for example, and you can get involved in capturing emails, voice calls, other communications, and study it. So once you capture that information using big data techniques, you can then not only have it for later reference, but now you can study it for patterns. And this is where social media comes in. Who has been successful at this? Well, the NSA, in its own way, has been successful at these things. Google, of course, has been very successful at capturing the searches that you put in and then analyzing them and triangulating from your location to what you searched for, and they can discover what your interests are. Well, what doesn't work with social media? Well, if your company culture is not ready for social media, then you can't use it. Here's a good example here. When it comes to blogging, people might have really good content, but if you don't have the right infrastructure, you can't use it properly. If there are political struggles between who controls the blog or whatever, you'll have issues. Analytics are critical. It's not enough just to get a lot of blogs out there. You've got to put together good analytics and have it ready to go. And your company must have a unified goal in order to move forward. Also, you can't limit social media to your external marketing, and expecting the young kids to lead is another issue. I recently have been working with a company, and this company is led by an older gentleman who often brings youth with him, and the reason because he feels they're the only ones that understand social media. It is your responsibility to make sure social media is understood all the way through out there. So you have to ask yourself, can social media work for my company? Well, first, you have to ask, where are you getting your data from? Are you using, are you basically grabbing your unstructured data, your email, voice calls and things? Are you measuring your results? What are the people doing? And who is doing the measuring and analyzing? It's a very important part of it. When it comes to using social media, there are a few misconceptions. First of all, I think there was at one time everybody seemed to say, well, we have our Twitter presence and we have a blog. It takes more than that. Social media requires that you have to get information outside of the company, some people would say. That's really not the case. That was the early view. Today, you can socialize the platform, socialize the information that you have, and science, performance management, and basically on the data side. When it comes to, I'll focus on the idea of performance management here. So when it comes to creating a smart company, a smart society, I think one of the things that you could think about are what are some of the ways by capturing some of the natural activities of your employees, by capturing those things and analyzing them for later, what can you find? What patterns can you find? Who's being productive? Who's being less productive? But more importantly, what ideas are being left out? What ideas are not being executed on, even though they're in the collective wisdom of the company? So I've noticed that when smart companies get going, they basically integrate a lot of these technologies. Most of the time, new technologies tend to be brought in as somebody's pet project. And the question is, does it get